Did you know a single episode of I Love Lucy was so scandalous it got banned worldwide? It's true. The show that made America laugh was suddenly too hot for TV. In 1952, Lucille Ball's real-life pregnancy sparked a television revolution. CBS execs were so nervous, they called in religious leaders before letting Lucy appear on screen with a baby bump. But what happened next changed TV forever. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Picture this: 1950s America, where TV was as squeaky clean as a freshly polished Cadillac. The word pregnant was too spicy for prime time, and showing a woman with a baby bump, forget about it. That's the world Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz found themselves in when Lucy discovered she was expecting. Now Lucy and Desi weren't just any TV couple. They were the stars of I Love Lucy, a show that had America in stitches every week. But when Lucy's real-life pregnancy threw a wrench in the works, the couple feared it might be curtains for their hit series. Can you imagine? The show everyone loved, cancelled because of a baby. At first, Lucy and Desi were ready to call it quits. But then, producer Jess Oppenheimer had an idea so wild it just might work. Write Lucy's pregnancy into the show. It sounds simple now, but back then, it was like suggesting they film an episode on Mars. The CBS executives nearly had a collective heart attack when they heard the pitch. They paced their offices, wringing their hands, wondering how on earth they could show a pregnant woman on TV without causing a national scandal. They had more conditions than a used car salesman, insisting on careful planning and strict rules. So, the I Love Lucy team got creative. They treated the word pregnant like it was radioactive, coming up with every euphemism in the book. Expecting, in the family way, blessed event, you name it, they used it. They tiptoed around the topic of pregnancy like it was a sleeping bear. As the air date approached, the tension was thicker than Lucy's favorite chocolate sauce. Would viewers tune in or turn off in disgust? Would sponsors pull their support? The future of television hung in the balance. Then, the moment of truth arrived. The episode aired and, boom, an astounding 44 million viewers tuned in. That's right, 44 million. More people watched Lucy's fictional pregnancy than would watch the inauguration of President Eisenhower the next month. It was a television revolution, right there in America's living rooms. CBS executives were sweating bullets, and it wasn't just from the studio lights. They'd navigated the treacherous waters of showing a pregnant woman on TV, but now faced their biggest challenge yet. In a move that would make headlines today, they turned to an unexpected source for the final verdict. Who held the power to greenlight or cancel Lucy's most controversial episode? Believe it or not, CBS decided to seek approval from religious leaders. Yes, you heard that right. Priests, ministers, and rabbis were about to become TV critics. Why? Well, the network brass was terrified of offending conservative viewers. They figured if they could get the thumbs up from religious bigwigs, they'd be in the clear. So, picture this: a bunch of suited executives nervously presenting a sitcom to a panel of clergymen. Can you imagine the tension in that room? The CBS folks probably rehearsed their pitch more times than Lucy practiced her Vitamiata Vegamin routine. They showed snippets of the episode, explained the storyline, and held their breath. Now, we don't know exactly what went down in that meeting, But you can bet there were some heated discussions. Did pregnancy belong on primetime TV? Would it corrupt America's youth? Was it appropriate for family viewing? The religious leaders must have debated these questions back and forth, while the CBS execs watched anxiously, their careers hanging in the balance. As the deliberations dragged on, the I Love Lucy team was on pins and needles. This wasn't just about one episode. It was about pushing the boundaries of what was acceptable on television. If the religious leaders said no, it could set TV progress back years. Finally, after what must have felt like an eternity, the verdict came in. And guess what? The religious leaders gave it their blessing. Can you believe it? They actually approved of Lucy's pregnancy storyline. Talk about a plot twist. This stamp of approval was like winning the lottery for CBS. It gave them the confidence to air the episode without fear of backlash. More importantly, it paved the way for a groundbreaking moment in television history. Picture this: a bustling TV studio in 1952, the air thick with anticipation. The I Love Lucy cast and crew were about to film an episode that would change television forever. But how do you show a pregnant woman on screen when even saying the word pregnant was taboo? The writers got creative, coming up with every euphemism in the book. Expecting, in the family way, blessed event, you name it, they used it. It was like a linguistic dance, tiptoeing around the elephant in the room. But that wasn't the only challenge. The costume department had their work cut out for them too. They designed looser clothing to hide Lucille Ball's growing belly in the episodes leading up to the big reveal. Talk about a fashion emergency. When it came time to film the pivotal scene where Lucy tells Ricky she's pregnant, the atmosphere on set was electric. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz weren't just acting, they were living it. As the cameras rolled, real tears flowed. It was a moment of pure, genuine emotion that resonated with millions of viewers. Can you imagine being there, watching this slice of television history unfold? But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Behind the scenes, tensions were running high. Vivian Vance and William Frawley, who played the Ricardos' best friends, weren't exactly best buddies in real life. Yet, when the director called action, they put aside their differences and delivered performances that felt authentic and relatable. That's showbiz for you. As the air date approached, everyone held their breath. Would viewers embrace this groundbreaking episode, or would they change the channel in shock? The network executives were probably pacing their offices, wondering if they'd made a huge mistake. But when the episode finally aired, it was like a cultural earthquake. A whopping 44 million Americans tuned in, more than would watch President Eisenhower's inauguration the next month. It wasn't just a TV show anymore, it was a shared experience that brought the nation together. Imagine a world where pregnancy on TV was as common as laugh tracks. Sounds normal, right? Well, it wasn't always that way. Let's rewind and see how I Love Lucy kickstarted a television revolution that would change what we see on our screens forever. After Lucy's groundbreaking pregnancy episode, the floodgates opened. Suddenly, other shows started dipping their toes into these once-forbidden waters. Remember the Dick Van Dyke Show? They jumped on the bandwagon, featuring Mary Tyler Moore's character expecting a baby. Even the Brady Bunch got in on the action, tackling teenage pregnancy. It was like TV had finally discovered that, hey, families actually do grow sometimes. But it wasn't just about what was on screen. The whole way people thought about pregnancy on TV shifted. By the late 1960s, viewers were actually excited to see these storylines. They loved how it made their favorite characters seem more real, more like the families they knew in their own lives. It wasn't scandalous anymore, it was relatable. And let's talk about the bigger picture. I Love Lucy didn't just change TV, it changed how we talk about everyday life. Pregnancy went from being this hush-hush topic to something we could actually discuss openly. It was like Lucy and Ricky gave everyone permission to acknowledge that, yes, babies do come from somewhere. TV historians often point to this moment as a real turning point. It showed that audiences were ready for more honest stories about family life, warts and all. And once that door was opened, there was no closing it. Shows started tackling all sorts of issues that used to be off-limits. Now, when modern audiences watch that famous I Love Lucy episode, they see more than just a funny show. They're watching a piece of history that helped shape the TV landscape we know today. It's a reminder of how far we've come in what we're willing to show and talk about on screen.